You ever have that feeling like your brain is just a sieve? You pour all this information in when you're studying, and then it just leaks right out? Well, today we're going to patch those leaks for good. We are going from forgetful to unforgettable. And trust me, the science behind how to do it is way easier than you think.
All right, so let's start with a feeling I know you've had. Picture this. You spend hours, maybe a whole all-nighter, cramming for a big exam or a presentation. You feel like you've really got it down. But then, the moment you actually need that information, poof, it's just gone. Vanished. So why on earth does that keep happening?
First off, this isn't you. It's not some personal failing. It's such a universal experience that we can call it the forgetting problem. And the really great news? There's a clear scientific reason for it. And it has nothing to do with how smart you are, but it has everything to do with the method you're using to learn.
Okay, so to fix this, we've got to look under the hood a little bit and understand the machine we're all working with, our own brains. So, what's the deal? What's actually happening inside our heads when we try to learn and remember something?
You know, when you really get down to it, our memory boils down to a pretty simple three-step process. The best way to think of it is like a library system for your mind. You've got encoding, which is like getting a new book, then there's storage, which is putting that book on a shelf, and finally you have retrieval, which is being able to find that exact book right when you need it.
So let's start with step 1, encoding. This is basically that light bulb moment of learning. When you first hear a new concept or read a new fact, your brain isn't just a video camera recording it. It's actively translating that info into a neural code, trying to hook it onto things you already know. This is where learning actually begins. All right, next up we have storage. Once that information is properly encoded, your brain files it away somewhere. Now that could be for just a few seconds in your short-term memory, or if we do it right, for a lifetime in long-term memory. It's kind of the quiet phase, where your memories are just sitting patiently on the shelf.
And that brings us to the big one, the final and most crucial step, retrieval. This is the active part. It's when you have to pull that information out of storage. You know that moment your mind goes blank in a test, or you can't remember someone's name even though it's on the tip of your tongue? Yeah, this is where the whole system tends to fall apart.
So what's the one huge mistake that pretty much all of us make when we try to learn something new? Well, we pour all our time and energy into those first two parts, encoding and storage, and we totally miss the one part that actually matters most for building a strong memory.
This is the whole game changer, right here. We think the problem is that our brain is a leaky bucket, that the information just disappeared from storage. But that's not it at all. The reality is, the information is usually still in there. The problem isn't the book, it's that we haven't trained the librarian how to find it on the shelf. The problem is retrieval.
And this really breaks it down, doesn't it? You've got two choices. On one hand, there's the passive route. This is what most of us do. Rereading notes, highlighting the same paragraph over and over. And it feels productive, right? But honestly, it's a trap. It just gives you a false sense of knowing something. The other way, the active way, that's where you actually practice pulling the information out of your brain from scratch.
Okay, so we know what doesn't work. All that passive rereading isn't getting us anywhere. So what does? Well, there's this incredibly powerful technique, and it is the key to all of this. It's called active recall. And believe me, it's about to become your new best friend.
I want you to just take a second and really let this one sink in. This idea completely flips everything we thought we know about studying on its head. Real, long-lasting learning isn't about just shoving information in over and over again. It's all about the struggle, the effort of pulling that information back out.
So what's actually happening in the brain when we do this? Think about it like this. A new memory is like a tiny, overgrown path in a dense forest. It's super hard to find at first, but every time you force yourself to remember it, to retrieve it, you're walking that path again. You're stamping down the weeds, making it wider, clearer. You are literally rewiring your brain and strengthening the connections that make up that memory.
Okay, so that's the theory. But how do you actually do it? It's way simpler than you think, seriously. Just stop rereading, instead start testing yourself. Cover up your book and try to explain the main ideas out loud. Use flashcards. Or, here's the gold standard. Try to teach the concept to a friend. If you can explain it to someone else completely from memory, you've got it. You really, truly know it.
And once this idea really clicks for you, it is like unlocking a superpower for your brain. You go from being just a passive consumer of information to being an active, deliberate builder of real, solid knowledge that actually lasts. It changes everything.
So let's just put it all together.
The whole formula for unforgettable learning is actually pretty straightforward. First, you've got to encode the information well, which really just means paying attention. Then you let it get stored. But the secret sauce, the magic ingredient, is consistently practicing active retrieval. That's what builds those memory superhighways in your brain.
And that's really the big takeaway here. The secret was never about being born with a good memory or a bad memory. It was always about using the right strategy. So now that you know the key is pulling information out, not just trying to push it in, what are you going to tackle differently?